Hi, I'm Dan Aubuchon, and welcome back to the Joy of Tennis Teaching. I was thinking a lot this weekend about this channel and the joy. I heard from lots and lots of people. Last Friday was my birthday, so I heard from a lot of old friends, and we were talking quite a bit about this channel. And I started thinking about the name of the channel and the joy of tennis teaching. And like a lot of us, I started playing tennis just without instruction, just in the public parks. And I can't tell you how joyful it was to just hit the ball. My good friend Jeff Karsh, who introduced me to tennis, and we kind of grew up learning it together. When Jeff and I were just hitting and rallying the ball back and forth, boy, all the locals thought we were ready for Wimbledon. We were great looking players. We turned out not to be that good in actual competition, but we loved hitting the ball back and forth. And then we started playing doubles with the Gang of Characters at Doyle Field, the public courts near my house. And that was so much fun. So everything about my tennis experience was joyful, but I wasn't going to be a great player. I knew my athletic skills weren't going to take me that far. I played as far as I could in competition, but I knew I was never going to be able to make a living as a player. But then I started teaching. And I always felt a calling to the teaching profession. I actually went to college to become a school teacher. I was a history major, and I planned on, teaching at the local schools and teaching, coaching basketball and tennis on the side until PBI happened. And then I found out that I could combine my joy of tennis and playing and being on the court and being around the tennis world with my love of teaching. And then I was set for life. So another thing that spurred this topic was I was reading in the latest RSI magazine the interview with Katrina Adams. And I actually met Katrina a few times when she was a player. She and Zena Garrison helped get our PBI show onto the court at a women's pro tournament in Houston by winning their doubles match in record time. And Katrina had a great career as a player, and then she did some coaching, and then she became very involved in the USTA and eventually rose to become a two-time president and CEO of the United States Tennis Association. And after that, she's been on the board with the International Tennis Federation. So the interviewer asked Katrina, what was the key to your success in all these different fields throughout tennis? And she said something very interesting that applied to what I'm trying to get across in this joy of tennis teaching. She said, you've got to find out what you're passionate about. And she said, then you find your nook and your hook, as she put it. And for 30 some years, my nook was PBI. But even when I left PBI, my nook remained the tennis court. It remained that ability to be on a tennis environment and use my skills as a teacher. My hook during the PBI years was coaching education and running training programs, but I also loved any kind of teaching. Last week I had the opportunity to catch up with Chris Dyer, who those of you who pay attention will remember. Chris Dyer is the all-time champion listener in PBI history. And sure enough, when I called Chris to talk to her, she turned everything around and got me talking and was listening to me. And when I was telling her the story of this YouTube channel, she said in her Chris voice, which all of you who've been in PBI will know, she said, oh, Daniel Paul, she said, nobody loved teaching and just giving lessons and sharing the PBI concepts more than you did. So it was something I was always so passionate about. And so that connected me back to what Katrina Adams said. And I can remember I told Chris this story early on when we opened the Marriott Desert Springs, where Jim has been for 370 something years. When we opened it and I was the director, there were lots of meetings and lots of time, and I couldn't get out on the court as much as I love to. So a lot of times I'd come home tired and grumpy and all this, and I was married at the time, and my wife Sue, who many of you know, one day I came home and I had had a chance to teach a lot, and Sue accused me. She goes, "What's going on with you today? You've been teaching, haven't you?" It was like I was an alcoholic and she had smelled booze on my breath, because I came home with so much energy. And when you do something that you're joyful about, then you'll never lose that energy. So I've been really lucky to have had the career that I had. But when I started all of my health problems, I went into a deep depression because I thought I had lost the ability to teach. And I'd like to thank one of our viewers, Marcella, who, when she was here in the desert, just starting her career with PBI, she stayed here in my condo. And every night, Marcella and I would talk and talk and talk about the PBI concepts and learning. And it was the time that I felt the best. So the idea for these videos came really from that time spent with Marcella. And so to close up, I would like to say a big thank you to all of you who watch these and who communicate with me. It means more to me than I can say. So thanks, and go out there and be joyful.